This is Staff Traits, and this is the Work Life Show, and I'm Kathryn Wilson. And this is a little bit different to what we usually do here, because there's a global pandemic, and we're really interested in finding out how companies are thriving in this environment. And we're going to be speaking to Matt Harris today, who is coming to us via Zoom, and he is from Brand Bassador. And we wanted to find out how they are thriving within this new culture that we've had to adapt to, this new culture of working from home. So welcome, Matt.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, Matt. And first up, I want to ask you what you do in your job and what do you do with Brand Bassador?
Yeah, sure. So I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, so pretty much everything commercial. I work directly with our founders to grow our business. Brand Bassador is ultimately, we've built a tool that enables any B2C brands to build community around what we believe are their most prized assets. It's their customers, their followers, and their fans. And we call them ambassadors, similar to influencer marketing, only tends to be more authentic because these are everyday people who just connect with a brand. So yeah, we were actually founded out of a brand, the brand One Piece. The crazy adult onesies,
yes,
adult baby
clothes.
I have one. Yeah, no way. So our founders actually built that business out of Norway back in sort of 2008, 2009. And as they grew that business from like their living rooms to this huge $120 million business with stores in every continent, if people like Justin Bieber and Richard Branson, organically, organically posting, they found that a brand like theirs, they just had such affinity with their customers. Their customers loved it, man. They'd wear them out and about. Everyone would talk about them. People running around campuses, like showing off this crazy garment, and it just exploded. So they started building like their very first ambassador community, and they gave it the name the Peacekeepers. And they just went around collecting cool people who enjoyed their brand, loved what they were doing, and they built the first ambassador community. And the issue they had was when you've got like 20 ambassadors, it's relatively straightforward to manage, right? My email is manageable. If I need to send them money, it's manageable. But if I had a zero onto that and then call it 200 or even 2,000, it's impossible. My email is flooded. I'm constantly in and out of my bank account. I can't track anything. So that was ultimately what seeded the idea to build a platform that enables brands to build those communities. So in a nutshell, that's ultimately what Ambassador is.
And tell me, a lot of people watching this will have never really heard of a brand ambassador. They might have heard of an influencer. Can you tell us the main differences between the two?
Yeah, so we have a rather cheesy phrase, but it's perfectly applicable. Is we say that influencers have followers, right? They're measured in how much following have they got and how much exposure am I going to get. And not to do it a disservice, but it's like the modern day digital billboard, where as an ambassador is measured in their friends, right? If you say to me, Matt, you've got to check out this awesome jacket, the chances of me actually going to check it out are considerably higher than if I see like, I don't know, Molly Mayer, an influencer doing it with hashtag ad and everyone sees straight through it. There needs to be now an authentic voice. There needs to be that believability and that level of trust. And you only get that from people who love your products, who are buying your products or want to buy your products and want to talk about it. And that's fundamentally, that's the difference. That's an ambassador.
I think it's also going back to maybe that culture I had growing up of nightclubs, you asking your friends to come out to go to a nightclub with you, that, you know, that brand ambassador, this is the club I'm going to, so you should come with me, and that helped the business in that sense. So it's very, very interesting. I'm very interested in that because I didn't actually know that people did this, but it makes a lot of sense to me now. And I also have to thank you for Friday night. That was a brilliant night. Brand Bassador invited me along to their wonderful quiz night that we had in isolation. I'm self-employed, so I don't have a company and I don't have a company culture. But if you could just explain to me how important company culture is to Brand Bassador.
Yeah, absolutely. You did amazing, by the way. I think you almost won at one point.
I was third at one point.
You fell down the baby photos, which is
never met these people.
Not really fair.
No.
But, yeah, so yeah, we're a startup. We've gone from like 13 people only like 12 months ago to around 25, 26 now. So a reasonably quick growth. And you know, even when you're working, it's the place you spend most of your life, right? I see my colleagues more than I see my wife and kids, which is a bit depressing to say, but it's the reality of the world we live in. So it's so important to find that right blend, that right atmosphere, that environment. And I think if you even slight sort of inaccuracies there can cause such like a toxic environment where people don't want to go to work because there's politics or there's just not a nice atmosphere. So it's so important to build that culture and nurture it and take care of it, and not see it as just it's just a byproduct of what happens when you build a team, but it's actually something we're actively investing in and saying, look, we know how important that is. And so yeah, for us, it's massively important. We actually built our own social committee to ensure that we're being social, we're doing things to get outside of work. And we were meant to go bowling last Friday, but obviously this pandemic has thrown that out the window. So when we were asking ourselves, how can we still hang out? That was when the idea for doing a virtual social was spawned.
And you use quite a lot of different applications. Some I'd never even heard of. Kahoot,
yeah.
Kahoot, which was fantastic. Like, there's so many different applications that I'd never even heard of before this. And overall, was there anything tell me what you think went really well and what went maybe not as well as you'd like?
Yeah, sure. So so we ultimately use Zoom, Kahoot, and Whereby. So Zoom and Whereby are two meeting rooms, and obviously Kahoot's fantastic. It's really a learning tool, but we use it to you can create a quiz easily. You invite everyone to it. It's fastest finger first. A question comes up on the screen, and it's the first one to answer. Everyone submits their answers, and then you get points based on how quick you were and how accurate you were. And we use it every Friday, actually. Every Friday, we release all of the new features and developments on our products that week. And the whole company is supposed to go into Slack and read them and learn them. And then we test them with a Kahoot quiz. And it's actually become a really integral part of who we are. There's this, for those people out there who know Kahoot, there's a theme tune, there's a song, and it's very, it's evocative of Kahoot. And every Friday, you hear people coming in and singing it. And as soon as that music comes on, you know it's Friday. We get the beers out and we do a quiz together. Sorry, I completely forgot your original question. So what was good and what could have gone better?
What did you think? What will you do better next time? And what did you think went really well? Because I have my opinion on it, and I know there were so many things that went well. So I'd like to hear what you think didn't go as well as you'd hoped.
I think when we first started planning it, I was in the headspace of this is either going to be really average and difficult because of the circumstances, or it's going to be awesome. And I was so pleased that it was on the other side of that spectrum. It went so well. One of the pieces actually, which I wasn't really banking that much on. So what we did is, to start with, we gave everybody a £15 Uber Eats voucher. We told everyone to order food by 5:45 and start joining the virtual dining room, it's a Zoom room, by 6:30. And we're just going to eat together. And everyone's going to be on mute, and we're going to go around the room and unmute and do show and tell. So I asked everyone to go find something in their home that they want to bring and share with the rest of the team. And when I was planning it, I was thinking, this is a bit of a time filler, right? We've got to eat. It's going to be weird if we're on mute, so at least there's something out there. And I wasn't really expecting that to go well, but it was actually incredible. And one of my favorite bits was just like seeing the different things that people bought and wanted to talk about. Like, one of our guys shared how he was training to be in the circus. Ollie, one of our co-founders, shared one of his prized knives and shared his passion for cooking. And I think a lot of people have shared how we learned something about each other in that experience that we didn't know. So that was awesome. The quiz itself was the pub quiz. I mean, you can't go wrong with a pub quiz. And we were able to use Whereby as kind of pub tables. So each team went to a different meeting room, like their table. I, as the quiz master, joined each room, and then we'd read the questions off. And this is the bit where I feel we needed a slight refinement, because I completely forgot that I'm not able to mute all three rooms in one go. So I'll read the question out, like, what's the capital of blah, blah. And then you would hear other people in other meeting rooms shouting answers around. So I had to go like, shush, 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 shush.
I enjoyed that. That intensified the atmosphere for me, because I was like, oh, no, I need to stop talking now. So I thought that was actually really, really brilliant. Favorite question for me was, what is the second moon in a month called? And I just was thinking, what on earth is that? How did I not know this? And it was a blue moon. And that will always stick in my mind as like a dough moment, thinking, how did I not know that?
To be fair, I didn't even know. I was obviously I was googling pub quiz questions, and I learned a few things as well. But that was logistically. Although I quite like the fact that embracing the fact that we've got this technology here. It's the only way we can interact now. And yes, it can be clunky. You have to tab through 3 minutes and remember to press mute, but it is what it is. Other bits, we also did our founder, Thomas, created a Google Street View quiz, which I was skeptical of. I think we were all a bit, how's that going to work? But I thought it went really well. So he would say something like, there is an island in the Caribbean called blah, blah, blah. 100 miles south, there's another smaller island. What's it called? And like the team were racing on Google Street to go and get the answers, or leave the office.
Kind of like fastest
right.
finger, fastest finger first. Like you're allowing them to use the technology.
Yeah, exactly. So that went well. We did charades, which was funny.
Slightly more harder.
Yes.
A lot of people didn't know the books or didn't know the films, and I think because you've only got a little rectangular space, you don't really. It's harder to bring that to life, I think, with the screen.
It's true.
But like yourself, I would say my personal opinion was the little bits that you thought would be fillers actually made the whole thing for me. It was a real icebreaker, because obviously I was coming into your world as someone who nobody had ever seen before, nobody knew, and I had to like share a little bit of my story, but I got to hear everybody else's story. And then once I'd heard a little bit about them, I felt like I've done more than shook your hand, which is not allowed at the moment. Like I've actually like heard a little bit about your life that's actually quite deep. So some of them were really emotional, especially the dog. That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's one of the things as well, which I was a bit surprised at, was I initially thought, like, there's like 23, 24 people joining a Zoom room. I'm going to have to ask everyone to mute unless you're talking or responding to a question. And I think we quickly worked out we didn't actually need to do that. People could self-govern, and obviously appreciate now isn't the time to try and talk. But by allowing everyone to unmute, it then unlocks that atmosphere.
Yes,
and you can hear reactions and clapping and laughing, and that I think was key, was just not over-policing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have any, from this experience then, do you have any advice for other companies that may want to do this? Do you have any advice for them, like things that they should be thinking about doing? Because I'm sure a lot of people that are in isolation do feel isolated and don't feel like they could have this type of culture with their company.
Yeah, I think that the biggest one is just do it. Like we are in isolation. It is a weird time. Everyone's feeling it. The days are blurring. You miss actually physically hanging out with your colleagues, and with all the stuff like furloughing going on, and the ups and downs, you need to take a pause and just hang out like you would if you're in the office or going out with your social. So just do it. Like I said, when I was planning it, I was thinking this could be really bad or this could be really great, and it was nowhere near as bad as I was thinking in my head it could have been. And I think just get creative, like, work around the tools we've got. We took an hour as a management team, just like having a laugh, planning these crazy ideas, and the whole world's going crazy, and we were laughing at ourselves, going like, we just spent an hour talking about how can we do virtual charades or or quizzes or whatnot. But it's important. I think in this time more than ever, you've got to just do it. Find those opportunities to invest in culture and get together as a team, and see it as an opportunity to learn more about your colleagues than you perhaps wouldn't have had if you were just going to the pub.
And what other positives are you taking personally and both in your work at this time? Are you seeing anything as really positive?
Yeah, since doing it, honestly, we've felt like in our team stand-ups, so every morning we all get together as a team, every evening we get together as a team, there's been more banter, people have seemed happier, like talking about the Friday, there's just this sense of we're in this world now, we've adapted a lot to it now, and heck, things can go on, we can still do our socials, and it's been like the team's had a bit of a glow this week on the back of doing it. I've heard so much good feedback, and so I feel really pleased we did it. We're definitely going to do it again. I think somebody today said we should do it every 2 weeks. That might be a bit of a stretch, but we're definitely going to do it again soon. But yeah, no, it's had a really positive impact this week on the culture in the team and the feeling of togetherness, and you know, this stuff isn't going to stop us from all hanging out.
So a lot of companies in the UK are going through a lot of things that they've never had to be through, going through before. One of those things is furlough, and a lot of companies, a lot of their businesses have had no choice but to take some funding from the government. They put a lot of their employees into furlough. What has been your experience of that so far, Matt?
Yeah, so you know, like every other business out there, there's so much uncertainty at the moment. You know, we're in the business of acquiring and working with new brands and maintaining our existing ones, and yeah, we've got no idea how long this thing's going to last. There's so much uncertainty, and unfortunately, we've had to take some tough decisions. Yeah, we're a startup. We don't have a few tens of millions in the bank, and cash is an important thing to keep an eye on and ensure is there for our survival so we can come through this stronger. And we've had to make some tough decisions. There's 3 of our team have had to furlough, which isn't pleasant, but we wish them all the best, and hopefully we can get through this and get back to where we were. But yeah, like a lot of people out there globally, having to make changes you didn't want to make or didn't foresee coming. So yeah, it's tough. And again, partly why now more than ever is the time to double down investing in culture. And you know, those decisions, it's hard for a business, right? It's hard for a leadership team, but it's easy to underestimate the impact it has on the people in the business. Like these guys, they work together, they're also friends, they hang out together,
Yeah.
they grow together, they invest in one another. So making those decisions is necessary, but it has the potential to harm not just the people going through it, but the people adjacent to it, the people who are left over, seeing the hole that's been left now because someone's no longer doing their day-to-day job. So yeah, I think now more than ever is that opportunity to double down and invest in culture. But yeah, like a lot of us, we're no exception. We've had to make a few tough decisions.
Are big brands then, or at the moment, are they saying that they want to invest in businesses like yourselves? Are you finding a little bit of growth in that? Any positives there?
Yeah, so basically right now we're in a world where e-commerce is the only real channel for a brand. You know, so we're seeing ambassadors more than ever engaging online with brands. We're seeing brands spend more in e-commerce and online. So there's a real opportunity there. Obviously, you know, brands initially, there's that panic of how long is it going to last? How bad is it going to be? Where are we going to stop spend? You know, so we feel that as well. We feel conversations we have with brands, we feel that there's this putting breakers on that might prohibit us being able to work together. But contrary to that, we see brands say, hey, look, now is the perfect timing for us. We need to get going. We need some help here. We need to get online. We need to upskill that piece of our business. And as well, like I say to my team, you know, now more than ever, you need to spend time with friends and family. Those are the ones that get you through this tough time. And I feel like a brand is no exception, right? A brand needs to build community of the people who like what they do, want to be part of that movement, who want to buy the product and talk about it. So brands more than ever should be putting their arms around their fans, their customers and followers, and building community around it to help them get through this time and grow through this time. So yeah, we're definitely seeing people who adopt that mindset, and we're able to help them and serve them. So.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on board with us. And of course, thank you so much for having me as part of your culture last Friday night. That's a night I'll not forget anytime soon. And keep doing what you're doing, and best of luck getting through all the times that are going to be coming our way.
Absolute pleasure. It's great to have you.
Thank you at home so much for watching. I've been Kathryn Wilson, and this has been Staff Treats, the Work Life Show. And don't forget to stay at home, stay safe, stay productive, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.